Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Nayasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across these videos where this sister was talking about how white supremacy and how the institution works in society and America too, and how white people, whether you are poor or rich, right? It gives you that identity. That's like, like the privilege covers you and all that. But in the end, you absolutely will find out that rich people are the ones that this protects more, right? The poor white people do not benefit a lot, though they still have that privilege. Now, I remember before election when black people were calling everybody to come out so that they would do the right thing and make sure that the incoming administration is better for everybody. You remember that they agreed that it is going to be blue, that there is no need for this rate of the system man and all that. They were just blabbing on the internet, and I don't know why I have this strong feelings that these people are just going to keep parroting, and in the end, they will do what they know how to do best. And it happened the way I said it, and also the way black people said it, right? Now, they are not doing a lot to save themselves, but they want you that did not participate in it to come out and save them as usual. You know what? Let's get into this video.
One of the things that I truly honestly despise about white supremacy and white supremacist institutions and societies like America is that white supremacy gives all white people a sense of credibility. It gives them credence and it gives them identity, right? Whether they are white and poor, which is most white people, let's be clear, there are only like 5 or 6 well-known, wealthy white families. The rest of you are not part of the 1%, and quite frankly, are probably not even part of the 100%. If we're keeping it a buck, you have to work for a living, and then when you retire, you have to rely on Social Security and Medicare so you don't die slowly, agonizingly, and painfully. But that's another discussion, right? So whether a white person is poor, whether they're disabled, whether they're LGBTQ plus, whether they have brown hair, whether they have blonde hair, they're still white, and their whiteness alone, because of centuries of oppression, gives them automatic credibility. It's an automatic, like, in club that they're all a part of. It's an open secret. It's a silent acknowledgement of identity amongst themselves. This is why so many of our Caucasian brothers and sisters were so adamant and so excited in the wake of Kamala Harris being the Democratic presidential nominee. And we're going to all those rallies and we had all these social media hashtags and trends and everything like that. The silent agreement among most white people was that, yeah, we're going to smile and, ooh, yeah, we're so excited. Yeah. But when we get in that voting booth, we need to lock in. Okay, because what white people won't openly admit is that in their minds, answering to a white fascist dictator like Trump is just a small price to pay for answering to someone who is in power who is still white. At the end of the day, losing their jobs, losing their health care, losing their social safety net, losing their footing, losing all their grounding, losing their families, their homes, their ability to eat, etc. Those are all just small prices to pay because most white people are quite content being oppressed if they're being oppressed by another white person. And if you don't believe me, look to two sources. One, the data from the exit polls breaking down who voted for Trump by race and by gender. And two, again, the same data from the exit polls looking at the number of college educated white women who voted for Trump. College educated white women who, by and large, pursue liberal arts and social science degrees, where they spend 4 years minimum talking about oppressive systems and institutions. So they should really know better. Not my laundry buzzer going off while I'm talking. Anyway, that's what I truly hate about white supremacy. It's an automatic in club, and everyone else is left out of it. That's why we don't celebrate like White History Month or what have you, is because whiteness is based on what you're not, as opposed to just a celebration of culture and traditions and survival in the face of certain autocratic regimes or the face of enslavement or Jim Crow laws or whatever. It's like an automatic in club for them. It's a silent agreement when they're in rooms with one another. It doesn't matter what they say they vote for, what platforms they publicly say that they support. When they get in that anonymous private voting booth, all that shit goes out the fucking window. Systemic institutionalized white supremacy is the sole reason why a country like America is simultaneously the wealthiest country in the world and simultaneously does not have any federal widespread social safety nets for its citizens, and the few social safety nets that are available, called entitlements, that we have to wait until old age to receive, are on the chopping block every single time a Republican comes into power. That is why we have countries who are communist countries, countries that are socialist, countries that don't touch America's GDP or military power or might, and yet their citizens have better qualities of life than America does. White supremacy is the reason why that is. White people who survived the first Trump administration looked around and said, my suffering is A-okay with me if black people are suffering too, if brown people and non-black people of color and immigrants are suffering too, right? Watching all those people being deported and having their heads shaved and being publicly dehumanized and sent off to God knows where to probably never be seen again, while white people are here sitting here wondering how they're going to pay their bills now that the government agency they worked for no longer exists, and the Medicare and the Social Security they live off of will soon no longer exist. That is A-okay with them. They will walk right into the gulag. They will walk right into the human concentration camps voluntarily, willingly, might I add, happily, if it means that the person running the concentration camp is another white person. They're okay with being oppressed. History has shown us this. The fact that there are still monarchies in European countries tells us this. Data from exit polls tells us this. It is just a small price to pay. That's why we can't get through to them with messaging or with statistics or with facts or with logical arguments. Nothing will get through to them because they don't want to be gotten through to. That's just it. So leave them. Leave them to suffer. And quite frankly, I'm beginning to agree with the Democrats and their kind of hands-off approach, because this cycle happens every single time, right? Republicans come in, slash funding to every fucking thing that's not war or business related, increase taxes on everyone except billionaires, and then the economy is in shite. Everything is a fucking mess. People become tired and elect a Democrat. A Democrat comes in, fixes the problem, and then institutes public policy that would positively impact everyone, including people who are not white, and put not white people in power. The same white people who are suffering under the Republican president now turn on the Democratic leadership, vote in another Republican, and then demand that Democrats turn around and save them. Like, lather, rinse, repeat is literally what that cycle is. So I agree with the Democrats. Hands off. Give the people exactly what they want. After all, who are we to argue with the will of tens of millions of Americans? At this stage, let America get exactly what America wants. That's all we can do. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. Because this is a revolving cycle of behavior that we've seen for a fucking decade. This will probably be a little bit of a longer one, so hit 2x again. Sorry, I'm fucking long-winded. But I see this happen all the time, right? Like, you constantly provide proof evidence to white Trump supporters. It's very easy to point out the hypocrisy. It's easy to point out the lies that they say that they believe. And it's infuriating, right? Because 98% of the time, doesn't matter what the fuck you say, it just bounces off them. It changes nothing. So the types of things that I see as a therapist and that I know as a therapist is that a lot of times kids that grow up with narcissistic parents, they pick up on traits, right? And not every time, but a lot of times kids will kind of mirror those traits as they get older into adulthood. And so you got to think, first off, white supremacy is inherently narcissistic. And then you have Donald Trump, which is a symptom of white supremacy, right? Is an outcome of white supremacy. But he's also in a massive position of power. And so he demonstrates a very violent experience of narcissism, and it just reinforces all of the behavior of Trump supporters. They have been underneath the grip of a narcissist for 10 years. That does not take any accountability away from them. But what I mean by that is Narcissists create their own reality. They're constantly the victim. Doesn't matter what you do, they'll lie. They'll isolate people like Trump is doing with the United States. They emotionally abuse people, gaslight, fucking future fake people. Oh, America's going to be great. Just give it some time. Just give it some time. You've heard this over and over. Just wait. I know he said he's going to fix shit day one, and now he said 2 years, but hold on. Just wait. It's going to be worth it. So then you have these moments, right, where Donald Trump is a 34-time felon. Voted in. 3 out of 5 white men wanted it. 1 out of 2 white women wanted it. And you see situations like Kilmar Garcia, right, where they constantly putting out actual lies to try to make it look like he's this massive, dangerous criminal. Even after the government said, yeah, we fucked up, we should have not sent him out. And it doesn't matter what you say to fucking white Trump supporters. They constantly fall in line with the narrative. It doesn't matter to them that Trump got busted for 34 felonies. Because in their mind, whiteness is the standard, right? So there's no way they will genuinely make themselves believe that the criminal justice system is corrupt when it comes to Donald Trump. But they will never admit that the criminal justice system is violent, dangerous, used to manipulate, like the list goes on, against Black, Indigenous people of color. And it's because they do not view anyone that isn't a fucking straight white male Republican as a human being. And not only do they not care, they express excitement and joy when suffering, pain, violence is carried out against Black, Indigenous people of color. Because it reinforces to them that whiteness is the top tier. That their narcissistic idea of how life should be lived, which is just veiled white supremacy, which is actually now open overt white supremacy. They believe that that's the fucking definition of being a human being. And we've seen it for centuries, right? White people have never treated Black, Indigenous people of color as human beings. Oftentimes it's property. Oftentimes it's a target for our anger, for white people to carry out violence. And so there is not going to be any winning. I don't know if y'all have ever argued with a narcissist, but they'll fuck you up and make you look like the monster because you got mad. They'll fucking lie, gaslight, manipulate in such a picture perfect way that they'll have you question your own sanity. And for those of us that give a fuck about other human beings, it's extremely frustrating, infuriating, exhausting to go back and forth with Trump supporters, specifically white Trump supporters. They are locked the fuck in to their white supremacy. Now, I'm not saying that people are beyond redemption, or I'm not saying people can't change. I'm not saying white people specifically shouldn't continue to try to push white Trump supporters towards humanity, but I'm telling you, they operate at such a comfortable existence of violence towards everyone else. It's addicting for them. They love it. They love watching Black, Indigenous people of color suffer. They love watching the queer community suffer. It falls in line with our generational trauma as white people. And it falls in line and just mirrors the fucking violence our white ancestors carried out. White violence is a comfortable space for white people that don't give a fuck about other people to operate and live in. Anyways, just some thoughts. Because we've been doing this shit for 10 years over and over. I see the same fucking arguments, same discussions, same responses from Trump supporters, from white Trump supporters. They live in a consistent mind space where they are always the victim. They think white genocide is a real thing. which it fucking isn't. They think, black, indigenous, people of color, immigrant families are out to get them, which isn't fucking real either. But Trump reinforces these narratives literally every fucking day and helps to maintain this violent frame of reference that they use to operate the world.
We can talk all day about what the Democrats need to do, what the Republicans should be doing, what third parties could do. But at the end of the day, nothing is going to come as far as progress in this country unless white voters actually want it. We sit back every single election cycle and we see white voters in the majority vote for the regressive politicians, the Republicans. And we sit and we wonder why the Democrats can't win these voters. Working class voters is what they call white voters overwhelmingly, as if no other group of people is considered working class. And I have had people drop down into my comment section that are white people, I know that they are white, that consistently ask me, why do I keep talking about race? Why do I keep bringing up race? Because race is important, bitch. This is the United States of America. Everything in this country is based in race. When it comes to who you believe is qualified for a job that has a racial identifier on, there is absolutely no way that white people would have voted for a black candidate like Donald Trump. And we know that firsthand. Look at North Carolina. North Carolina rejected the black candidate that was like Trump and voted for Donald Trump and voted for the Democrat, the white male Democrat, in their gubernatorial race. Everything in this country is about race because white people want it to be about race. I can guarantee you black people and most minorities would love to stop talking about race. But we know that you guys care a lot about race. It's the reason why you're seeing such massive pushes from white people and right-wing bigots to dismantle any DEI initiative and program. It's the reason why you guys literally work overtime to get rid of affirmative action, because race is important to you. Anytime you feel that there's a black person or a person of color that's receiving some kind of benefit that you believe that they didn't deserve because of whatever made up reason you have concocted in your brain, because these black and people of color are usually qualified for these positions that they get because DEI initiatives don't create jobs for unqualified people. Affirmative action doesn't create jobs and places in schools for unqualified people. You do everything in your power to undermine it. And white voters have been doing this dating back to the New Deal era, the 1930s, where you felt that black people were undeserving of the benefits that were going to come from the New Deal era, so you did everything in your power to undermine it until black people, specifically jobs that black people had, were unable to receive the benefits of the New Deal era. Unemployment, Social Security, welfare were things that black people overwhelmingly were being denied, and white people were given access to them because of the development of the idea of the deserving poor. White people were seen as not lazy, and therefore if they were poor and struggling, it wasn't their fault. They didn't do it intentionally. It is something that they cannot control. Whereas black people, if they were receiving these benefits, and it's still the situation today, are seen as lazy and just accepting these benefits because they don't want to work. Everything is literally about race. So until white people, specifically poor whites, understand that race doesn't matter and that we all should be focusing on this class warfare that's currently happening in this country, race will matter. Because you guys keep voting for these blatantly racist candidates, these regressive politicians that you know are going to harm black and brown people. And you vote for them every single election cycle knowing that. The only reason why a lot of you are currently upset at what's happening in this government is not because of what you thought was going to happen to only minorities, to only black and brown people, to only LGBTQI plus peoples, but because of what's currently happening to you. You didn't give a fuck about them. Because everything that's happening now is the result of you not giving a fuck about them. So the universe rewarded you with the karma that you worked for and that you voted for, but mostly the karma that you worked for. It will never be lost on me that a lot of people that are regretting their vote for Donald Trump are not regretting it because of the harm that is being inflicted upon other people. No, that's not the reason why. They are regretting it because they're feeling the effects of that harm that they thought was going to be inflicted upon other people. You see, if a lot of these people were actually looking outward and saying, damn, he's doing this to other communities, and I feel bad because I voted for this, and I feel bad because this is happening to other communities. But we know specifically black and brown people, more specifically black people, know that if it was only impacting us, if the only harm that was being inflicted was on our community, a lot of these people that voted for Donald Trump wouldn't care, especially if they weren't feeling the effects of the harm that they voted for, that they thought was only going to impact people that were not attached to them. You see, what a lot of people need to do when it comes to what happened in this last election is a internal self-reflection within their communities. And as I've said on many occasions, this country has never really truly voted for progress. And the reason why that doesn't happen is in the very DNA of this country, that white supremacy that is at the core of this nation, where a lot of white people see progress when it comes to other groups of people that are not white as a handout. But when white people are struggling and the government is forced to do something for them, they see that as deserving. And that's something that needs to be revamped, rethought about, reimagined. Because here's the reality. White supremacy does not benefit even poor white people. Ultimately, you will become a victim of the very system that you enforce with your vote and your voices. Eventually, and even if you are a white person, eventually, what you vote for, the harm that you inflict upon other people with your vote, will ultimately come back to you, especially if you're not in a certain class or a certain tax bracket.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to say this. You all know how much black people, let me say black people, wanted everybody, especially the poor white people, to do the right thing. That is, they keep telling you everything is not about race, but you know, even with them knowing fully well how this present administration was going to harm people that look like me and other people that also supported them, because they thought that, they have the skin for protection, not knowing that their skin ain't even taking them anywhere. And I remember that I mentioned this. I said that all these women saying vote blue, vote blue, vote blue, that when this thing starts, that you all will also understand that they were never for you. It looks like I was like I knew, but I just felt it in my heart because I try as much as I can to listen to black people. And eventually, election day came, and it was the same. And they all disappeared. If you look, you will not see all. I don't know if you all have been seeing them. You have not been. They all ran away from you from TikTok. They are probably on other platform, but they ran away because they knew what they did. I mean, Shane, where is she? I know she's not white. She's Asian, but she was also part of the people that raised this alarm that there is no need for him for this president, for him for Kamala Harris, that her administration is bad when she was not the president. Now, all of them are all hiding because they fear that it might get to them what Latinos and Hispanics are experiencing at this point in time. And you all said you cared about people that look like me and other people of color, and you voted for Republican, and then later you come and tell us that tell black people that it is not all about race. You know that it is all about race. And after voting, you want black people to come and protest for you because all they know how to do is to save people. No, they are not protesting for you. Go out if you like, go out. If you don't like, don't go out. You all are at least the poor white people are also saying that they are not part, that they do not have them in mind. And for those that thought that is somewhere like his tax plan was going to be good for business people. And I say, which business people? It looks like you don't understand how this works. Wait, if you are doing business with how many thousand US dollars, which you are, okay, you're a nine. No, it's a whole lot of money too, right? But man, these people are looking for people that are investing in billions and trillions. I'm just like saying. So that's a coffee shop you have. they are not doing any, they are not going to do anything for you, and it is not saving you. All these things were what Black people tried educating you people on. Medicare is all gone, this one is going, this one, no free healthcare, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, da. At least now you all are saying the reason why they told you before. Because I feel like tomorrow again, if there is election, you all will still come out and vote against your own interest and still ask, where are Black people? Why are they? And because I am seeing them saying, why are Black people not coming out? How long are they going to rest? They are going to rest as long as they want. Hit the road. If what is going on is not important to you, I am going to draw the curtain here, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now.